I've been reading about different women in the Bible that seem like they might have had pretty insignificant lives in some ways, but I think that it really is easy for us as women to think we don't really matter. Maybe what does God really think or feel about us? We can, fall into deep depths of depression and doubt, especially when we give in to the flesh. And I think the more that we actually try to be led by the Spirit and love God's children, I think there's a big key there. I think the more I tried to keep my heart free of offense towards God's children and love them, the more secure I felt in God's love myself. It's kind of a deep mystery. But I've been thinking about women that are birthers naturally and how many cool stories there really are to women who gave birth spiritually to some pretty big stuff that saved families and kingdoms. I wanted to talk about a little story, and I think I'm going to share other little stories of it that I've been getting some deep revelation out of, because it's easy to withdraw into death. It's easy to think we don't matter, but maybe we matter a lot more than we actually realize. And that's the devil himself trying to make sure we think it doesn't matter. What we do, think, say doesn't matter. That's kind of what he got Eve to think. No big deal, but maybe it is a big deal. For these women, it was a real big deal that they actually cared about the Lord, because when we fear the Lord and care deeply about how he feels, about what we think and say and do with his children, kind of like any father, do we really want, I'm not a father, I'm a mother, but think of a father, they, a son, a daughter that really cares about what the father's going to think about how they treat the other children. It's huge, because that is the Father's business. Saved souls, kept souls, being our brother's keeper, keeping ourselves in the love of God. And that's really the battle of life right there, keeping ourselves in the love of God so we can do his will. Because these women who probably struggled with being depressed and selfish and all the things we struggle with, when they got pressed up against the wall, they did big things. There's scriptures about Deborah that are very powerful. I'm going to talk about her next. But I want to talk about these midwives. So, because, when we care, God opens up heaven. He opens up heaven. He gives you a line to his holy throne almost when you really care about doing what's right with other people. It's not hard to hear from God anymore. There's this scripture in Chronicles 17:14 that says, "If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land." And man, there's women that did powerful stuff because they turn from their wicked ways, which we can either think too much of ourselves or think too little of ourselves, both. So we have to change our mind, because we can be a big deal in people's lives. We are, whether we realize it or not. We were made birthers, and naturally you can see how much all throughout the Bible that women birthed good and evil spiritually. There's many scriptures about speaking words of oppression, and Jesus didn't save us to give birth to the things Eve gave birth to out of her mouth after she spent some time with that diabolical angel of light who was Satan himself. She became an evangelist, giving birth to the wrong words in Adam's soul. So that's what we're trying to get out of, so we can stay in the garden and be who God needs us to be in any given situation. Be ready, watching, waiting, like it says in Luke 21. Let not our hearts be charged with overeating, surfeiting, drunkenness, and the cares of this life, lest the day come upon us unaware. So these are all women who really rose to the occasion. And again, there's a lot of words in the scriptures about speaking words of oppression, and we don't want to let that give birth to that out of our mouth. When we become a loving spirit, because we actually care about God's children, you know, how do we say we love God in heaven who we don't see when we don't love his children who we do see? But when we care about that, man, powerful things go on in women's lives. Women who are doers of the words of Jesus, the voice of God throughout time, change things. And I want to talk for a minute about a couple women in the book of Genesis. And the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, the names of one of whom was Puah, which means splendid and radiant, and the name of the other was Shupra, which means beautiful and harmonious. And he said to them, when you happen to deliver a Hebrew woman, now this is the king of Egypt who's wicked, wicked, wicked to the core and oppressing the people greatly. I mean, they're being tortured by this guy, right? Like Hitler. And so he has them come to him and he says, when you deliver Hebrew babies, you two women, you midwives that are giving birth to all the children around here, be looking. And when kneeling, if it's a male, you kill him. And if it's a female, you save her. That's kind of a big deal. You know, they walked away thinking, what do we do now? Do we murder all the babies, the male babies? I mean, what a big deal to have dropped right in your lap from the king of Egypt. I can't even imagine being in that situation, but they were definitely pressed up to the wall now, right? And having to make a lot of serious judgments about what they were actually going to do. So it says, these midwives feared God. Oh, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. I mean, fearing God is huge. The fear of the Lord is a strong tower. You should read the scriptures about fearing God. These women that feared God did powerful stuff, and you should spend some time looking up the great scriptures there are in the Bible about actually fearing the Lord. So it says about these midwives, they feared God and they did not do as the king of Egypt told them. They risked everything about their life to disobey him, right? And they were saving the boys. This is the Peshitta, the George Lamsa's Aramaic Bible. And the king of Egypt called the midwives and said to them, why are you making this response and are saving these boys? And one of the versions says, why don't you have blood all over your hands? He's having them come back and, well, why don't you have blood on your hands from killing all the baby boys? What's happening around here? And the midwives said to Pharaoh, oh, the Hebrews aren't like the Egyptian women because they're all midwives. And when the midwives are not near them, they give birth and, you know, they run off with their baby boys, right? And what this really means, you have to pick this apart a little because this is very, very, very deep. When these midwives had this put in their lap to kill all the Egyptian babies, they went to every woman who got pregnant and gave them a PhD in how to have a baby and said, we're not showing up because we're not going to be responsible to kill your baby. You are going to be a midwife, and here's how it's all going to go down. They prophesied, they laid hands on, they put a spirit on these women to deliver their own babies and get the help of whoever in the family they needed to, because they said, we're not showing up. We're going to give you a doctor's degree in how to be a midwife now because we're not showing up. We're not going to partake in the murder of your male son. So they anointed these women with words to have faith and strength to have their babies without the midwives, because they had midwives back then. You know, this is a deep, deep thing these women actually did. And so Pharaoh's all ticked off, and he has these midwives come back who don't have any blood on their hands, right? And it says, and they say, well, all these women in Egypt they're midwives too, unlike your Egyptian women that, you know, there's only a few midwives and they have to have ours don't have to have midwives, you know. I mean, when you think about what is really happening here, it's mind-blowing, actually. So what a great thing to say to Pharaoh. And God blessed the midwives because they made this response. He multiplied the people and they grew very strong. And it was that as the midwives were in awe of God, he made those women households too. And Pharaoh commanded all the people and said, every son who will be born, you will throw him into the river, and every daughter you will save. I mean, if you can't get the midwives to do it, he'll just command the people. But Moses got saved. So I just thought this was a great story, because if we could really pick apart all the details and make a movie just about this, you could make a whole movie about just this story. But I just wanted to talk about some of these women who rose to the occasion, who against hope had hope, who when they, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. I mean, these women cried out from the depths of their souls to have strength in God because they knew their own weakness, and they were able to rise to the occasion, and you can too. Amen.